Hello, this is a presentation of the Johnson O'Malley program. Johnson O'Malley is a program within the Intercultural and Community Outreach Department. In Johnson O'Malley, we have a Clerical, Pamella Jordan, the JOM Supervisor, Mia Ceuntez, and the Program Manager, Dr. Berlinda Begay. Overview. What is the Johnson O'Malley Act? On April 16, 1934, the Johnson O'Malley Act of 1934 was passed to subsidize education, medical attention, and other services provided by states or territories to Indians living within their borders. Today, Johnson O'Malley's purpose is to financially assist those efforts designed to meet the specialized and unique educational needs of eligible Indian students, including programs supplemental to the regular school program and school operational support, where such support is necessary to maintain established state educational standards. How does the JOM program work? The Johnson O'Malley program begins within the U.S. Department of Interior under the Bureau of Indian Education Office. The BIE office then allocates funding directly to the tribes across the nation. The Navajo Nation JOM Program Office subcontracts school districts on and off the reservation following the 164 process. Two main requirements under the JOM Act to assure parent participation and advisory collaboration, known as the Indian Education Committee and the Education Plan. All JOM IEC follow the 25 CFR under eligible applicants. What students make a school district eligible for JOM funding? Eligible students range from age 3 through 12th grade and have a membership in a federally recognized tribe. A copy of the student's certificate of tribal membership must be on file in the JOM program office, also known as a certificate of Indian blood. Students must be enrolled in any CCSD-affiliated schools. Dream to Nest students are also included in CCSD's subcontract. JOM Indian Education Committee. Establishment of JOM Indian Education Committee, IEC. 9 members are to be elected parents of eligible Indian students enrolled in CCSD. Persons must be acting in local parentis, assuming the place of parents, such as legal guardians or parents of adopted children. School officials or school administrators are not eligible per the 25 CFR. IEC established procedures under which the committee serves. Procedures set in organizational documents and bylaws. Navajo Nation JOM IEC Committee also adhere to the HESI policy, also known as the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee. As of November 1st, 2022, we've had 0 parent representation from the Dream to Net Charter School. We have 3 Shiprock Region parents, 0 from the Ojo Kirtland Region parents, and 1 from the Nosh Chitty Newcomb Region parents. The roles, responsibilities, and duties of IEC participation. The IEC fully participate in planning, development, implementation, and evaluation of the JOM program. The IEC approve and disapprove program requests. They complete fall and spring needs assessments. They conduct the JOM Family Survey. They have regular monthly meetings from September to June. And they collaborate with the CCSD JOM administration. What is my role as an IEC member? The President shall know the major rules, bylaws, or parliamentary procedures for conducting meetings, preside over all general IEC meetings, uphold order over the meetings, will sign all requests, letters, reports, and other documents as required during the meetings. The Vice President shall preside in the absence of the President, exercise all rights and privileges of the President when acting in that capacity, oversee work of standing committees, point of order for meetings, attend to other duties as assigned by the committee. The secretary shall record minutes of all meetings, provide copies of the minutes to the JOM administration, the IEC, and to others needed, represent the president in the absence of both the president and vice president, ensure that public notices are posted in accordance with the IEC bylaws, maintain yearly attendance records of meetings and functions. The remaining members shall attend all IEC meetings and functions, review the agenda prior to the meeting to gain as much information about the business at hand as possible, engage in discussion, make notions, and vote on motions. Represent the region where parent's child attends. JOM Education Plan. General comments number 1. What is the education plan? The JOM Education Plan contains goals and objectives which adequately address the educational needs of CCSD students and provides programmatic and fiscal services, accountability in meeting state standards and requirements, procedures and methods used to achieving program objectives, overall program implementation and evaluation. General comments number 2. Using JOM funds, what's allowed, what's not. The Indian Education Committee is responsible for determining the eligibility of students and items to be purchased. Only items approved by the IEC, LEA, and JOM may be purchased. JOM is supplemental and not supplanted. The Johnson O'Malley funds are to be used to support existing programs and not replace programs that are being provided by another funding source. General comments number 3. Allowables. Direct student instruction, culturally and linguistically relevant instructional materials, English developmental instructional materials and supplies, student field trips and assemblies in support of STEAM, leadership, college and career readiness, Diné Knowledge Bowl, language festival, multicultural singing and dancing, Indigenous identity camps and workshops, college seminars, ACEs, Unity, and other student clubs, education and financial support. JOM funding requests and processes. Within the education plan, we have component number 3, known as the Parental Costs component. Under the Parental Costs, parents can apply for services to be co-paid by the Johnson O'Malley grant. Parents would complete the application, attach supporting documents, submit their application and supporting documents to the Intercultural and Community Outreach Department. The staff under the ICO department would then review and contact the parent if any items are needed. The request gets processed through our CCSD business office, and services will be rendered after a purchase order has been approved. Each request must have a certificate of Indian blood attached to their application. Each student is eligible for up to 2 parent cost support services per year. This includes services such as college fees, dual credit fees, eyewear, school supplies, senior graduation cap, gown, and announcements, book fairs, 6th through 12th grade summer enrichment, educational toys, books, kits for teen parents, individual student financial support such as after-school academic program fees. Supplies and materials. The requisition process with a deadline of March 31st, 2023. Things to know about our supplies and materials process. Our department utilized the iVision process through workflows and vendor sources. Our department requires a 15-day deadline in order to submit requests. Requests have requirements from department schools of $0 to $3,500. 3 written quotes must be completed and attached for requests exceeding $3,500 through $10,000. Quotes on vendors and company letterheads are required for requests from $10,000 to $60,000. Requires formal procurement methods for $60,000 and over. Teacher's requisition process. Number 1, complete supplies and materials packet with a detailed requisition form. Itemize your requisition form. Include justification and content standards. Add 2 additional quotes if request is over $3,500. Number 2, forms must have all signatures upon submission. Any missing signatures will cause delay. Here is our supplies and materials workflow. We begin at the requester's level. The requester completes an ICO requisition form and submits to the ICO Clerical with quotes and signatures. The ICO Clerical then obtains a purchase order and sends to requester or vendor to place an order. The vendor then delivers to the warehouse, and the CCSD warehouse personnel process the orders and deliver to the school level. The school personnel will receive packages and sign on behalf of the requester. Consultants. The requisition process with a deadline of March 31st, 2023. Things to know about our consultant process. The Johnson & O'Malley program requires a 15-day deadline to submit requests. Vendors can be utilized twice per school year, once in the fall and once in the spring. The rate is for $500 for presenters and consultants. Number 1, purchase orders must be approved before services are rendered or vendor confirms. Number 2, we cannot prepay presenters. An invoice must be submitted after services are rendered. Number 3, checks are processed on Tuesdays and Thursdays only. Number 4, notify your presenters ahead of time so they are aware of the process. Field trips. The requisition process with a deadline of March 31st, 2023. Things to know about our student travel process. The Johnson & O'Malley Department requires no more than 15 days to submit requests to the ICO department. Travel arrangements are the sole responsibility of the sponsors requesting for funding. The bus departure and arrivals. Earliest departure is 5:30 a.m. The latest return is 12 a.m. No student field trips in May or June. April is the last month for any JOM-funded field trips. The Bank of America credit card must have all itemized receipts submitted after field trips have been completed. Parent chaperones and background checks must be provided and on file prior to a field trip. Meal per diem for students are $55 per day per student. For grants, chaperone meals are not covered. For sponsors completing student travel, complete the following student field trip packet. A pre-approval student travel form must be completed with both the principal and district AD signature included. A pre-travel itinerary form must be completed, and the ICO JOM requisition forms. Number 2, forms must have all signatures upon submission. Any missing signatures will cause delay. Number 3, after submitting the trip ticket, ICO will notify you about the next steps. Sponsors completing the trip ticket through SchoolDude. Number 1, once logged into SchoolDude, click the Trip Request tab. Fill out the trip ticket using your pre-approval form as reference. Number 3, after submitting the trip ticket, you will receive an email confirmation. For big school trips, please plan ahead. Requesters can follow the previous process and submit their approved field trip documents to the ICO JOM staff. The JOM staff receives and submits to the IEC for approval of funding amounts. The IEC committee will review the trip request and determine what JOM can contribute to, as JOM does not fund 100%. After IEC approval, the Clerical obtains purchase orders and sends necessary documents to the requester in order to complete travel arrangements. After the trip is completed, requester will submit all itemized receipts to the Clerical for bank reconciliation. Clerical completes all invoices and closes out purchase orders. The professional development requisition process with a deadline of March 31st, 2023. Things to know about our employee travel process. Please avoid any last-minute requests as this may cause delays. The JOM program requires 2 months advance notice on all professional development requests. Employee travel request forms must have supervisor and superintendent signatures before any purchase orders or requisitions can be obtained. Travel arrangements include hotel, transportation, registration, per diem. After the trip has been completed, a questionnaire and a certificate with the sign-in sheet of the attendee must be submitted. No professional developments are to be requested for May and June. April is the last month for any professional developments. When requesting for professional development, conference requirements are as follows. Before entering requisitions, travel request forms need to be approved by the superintendent. Forms need to be submitted 2 months in advance for review and signature. Any last-minute submission will be returned as non-acceptance. Once approved, requisitions can be entered for employee travel forms, and a detailed agenda must be attached. Requisitions should be entered 2 months in advance for timely review and approval. After the travel is approved for actuals, a purchase order to the Bank of America credit card can pay for the hotel and transportation expenses. District pays for hotel. Itemized receipt is a must for reimbursement on per diem. What is itemized? It must show the meal is for one person and what was ordered. No alcohol beverages can be included. Parking fee are allowable with receipts. The maximum amount that can be reimbursed for meals is $59 for 24-hour days, starting with the departure time. An example, your departure is Monday at 2 p.m. 24-hour starts and ends Tuesday at 1:59 p.m. A copy of the agenda, certificates, sign-in sheets, and additional documentation must be attached with reimbursement form. The professional development flowchart is as follows. Submit ICO purchase requisition forms with attachments. Submit signed travel forms for approval. Submit all itemized receipt to ICO staff for reimbursement. Take a look in our Google Shared Drive under Johnson O'Malley Shared File for any and all requisition forms relating to funding requests. Where can I find the purchasing forms? The purchasing forms can be found in the ICO JOM shared file. If you do not have access to this file, please contact the JOM staff in the Intercultural and Community Outreach Department. JOM funding important deadlines. For the JOM school year 2022-2023 calendar, you will see that no activities for JOM will be conducted in May of 2023. All services must be rendered in April of 2023. March 31st is the last day to submit any requests for funding through the JOM program. Important deadlines. CLRI holistic related field trips are due no later than March 31st, 2023, with a 15-day deadline from trip departure. CLRI-related supplies and materials. The last day to submit any funding requests is March 31st with a 15-day deadline. CLRI-related presenters. March 31st is the last day to submit any motivational speakers or consultants at the school level for any assemblies or programs, with a 15-day deadline of when services are rendered. CLRI-related conferences. March 31st is the last day to submit any professional developments with a 2 months advance notice. All services and activities must be rendered by April 30th, 2023. Should you have any questions in regards to the Johnson O'Malley program, you can contact the following: Dr. Berlinda Begay, Mia Ceuntez, and Pamella Jordan.